Welcome to this week's Supply Chain Update, brought to you by Phoenix International. Let's start with market conditions. Trans-Pacific eastbound demand stayed flat through March with no post-Lunar New Year rebound. Forecasted volumes fell short and the market remains soft. Although floating rates have stabilized, carriers are pushing the general rate increase for April. Peak season surcharges have largely been withdrawn for March. On the Far East westbound lane, bookings picked up in mid-March, signaling early signs of recovery. However, overcapacity persists and freight rates dipped slightly. Only one blank sailing is announced for early April, and most carriers delayed GRIS until later this month. In the transatlantic westbound trade, rate trends are mixed. Planned surcharges for Southern Europe have been delayed. North Europe pass has been withdrawn, and demand in the East Mediterranean remains flat with no new surcharges announced. Now let's take a look at operational updates. On the Trans-Pacific eastbound lane, equipment availability remains strong across origin hubs, supporting smooth operations. For the Far East westbound trade, a fire on the One Integrity 006W disrupted a major service. This incident could delay Southeast Asia transshipments, especially for cargo routed through Singapore. On the transatlantic side, equipment shortages persist in Central Europe, affecting Austria, Slovakia, Switzerland, Hungary, and southern Germany. Mersin in the East Mediterranean is also starting to see tightness. Carrier-provided haulage remains the recommended option to manage these shortages. Turning to capacity management, Trans-Pacific eastbound capacity remains steady, with vessel deployment staying above 80% into April. Despite soft demand, no major disruptions are reported. In the Far East westbound lane, oversupply continues, with only minimal blank sailings. Space remains widely available, providing flexibility for shippers on the transatlantic westbound route. While March saw fewer cancellations, Southern Europe will face more blank sailings in April due to congestion at Piraeus, Mersin, and Valencia. These cancellations aim to maintain schedule reliability. The U.S. drayage market continues to shift. Provider count has dropped by 14% from its 2023 peak. However, capacity still exceeds demand, mainly due to driver consolidation under larger carriers. This keeps downward pressure on drayage rates. Roll-on, roll-off ports across the U.S. are preparing for potential disruptions, from new 25% tariffs on imported vehicles and parts set to begin April 2. The Seattle-Tacoma Gateway is especially exposed, with a new $200 million terminal under construction to support auto-related trade. South Carolina Ports has expanded capacity at Inland Port Greer with a $55 million upgrade. The expansion adds 9,000 feet of rail track and boosts handling to 300,000 lifts annually, responding to growing intermodal demand since 2014. Shipowners are updating charter contracts ahead of a proposed U.S. tax on Chinese-built ships. New clauses are being added to clarify cost responsibilities, with some placing tax liability on charterers. The full scope of the tax is still under regulatory review. And that concludes our update on the global supply chain. Thank you for joining us. We will continue to monitor these developments and keep you informed. You can follow us on LinkedIn and YouTube for more supply chain related updates.